Stroke is the second leading cause of death in Australia. About 60,000 people a year in Australia have a stroke. If you're in Adelaide, that fills up almost all of Amy Stadium if there's a Crows match. It's about one person every 10 minutes in Australia. In regards to morbidity, or where people actually have disability, then it's a leading cause of adult disability. So it's a major problem. It's one of the rare conditions where one moment you're completely fine and literally the next minute you're debilitated. Right now there is no ability that I have as a neurologist to repair the brain. When you have damage from a stroke or other forms, then we can give physiotherapy, we can give rehabilitation, but we can't actively change and repair the brain. Normally if I give someone a drug, then that drug just treats you and acts directly on you. You don't interact with that drug. With a stem cell, it's a living organism, and if you give that to an animal or a person, then that interacts directly with that person, and there's a two-way talk. And that provides an enormous ability to change things that normally weren't able to be changed and reprogram aspects of various organs to perhaps repair themselves where they weren't able to do that before. My group for the last 10 to 15 years has been investigating stem cells that we derive from the human tooth. It's important to recognise that these are what we call adult stem cells, not embryonic. These stem cells from the tooth, which we call dental pulp stem cells, have a unique ability to make brain cells and actually interact with the nervous system. The initial studies that we did was that we had a rat that had had a stroke, and 24 hours afterwards we injected human dental pulp stem cells into the brain around the stroke area. We then followed the animals for 4 weeks and we looked at their ability to do different tasks, their function, and we were delighted in being able to see significant improvement in function, particularly in the forepaw, which is like the arm of the rat. One of the big problems of this particular approach was that we had a high percentage of animals, approximately 10%, that died following that surgery. From a clinical perspective, that would be impossible to do because it's too great a risk. So what we're doing currently is trialling giving stem cells intravenously. We'll be very excited if we see a positive result with that, because then that will be a much safer way of giving stem cells in a human situation. We're planning now in Adelaide to do a first-in-man study to actually see whether these stem cells are safe and if there might be any benefit. This is unique. We would be able to hopefully take the tooth of a person that had a stroke some months or years before, make their own stem cells and then give that back to them. I don't think that stem cells will be a magic bullet that will cure people and make everyone take up their bed and walk, but I think it will give us another major step, in fact probably the first active way of actually changing the brain, so that with physiotherapy, with speech therapy, then we can actually get much more function in people that have chronic disability. And in Australia, we're talking more than 250,000 people who have had a stroke, who are disabled. So that would be a wonderful opportunity. So yesterday I saw 15 patients, and when I talked about the possibility of doing a trial in the future, they were almost brought to tears, many of them, because it gave them hope that there might be a possibility of improving their function in the future. And that, I think, is an important thing in medicine. It's not just cure, but it's also an aspect of giving people hope where often there is none.